Right, let's get the latest now from the senior attorney representing the Nakedi family, Zola Majavu. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. There have been some developments in this case. We've just spoken to the Free State Police. How are you feeling about some of the developments?
Good afternoon, Paul, and good afternoon to your viewers. Firstly, these developments did not drop on the table. They were as a result of hard-earned intervention and behind-the-scenes work that we did as a legal team. And in fairness to some members of the police, I can confirm that when the matter was taken away from the local police station and escalated to the provincial level, in fairness to all the police involved, as well as the acting senior state attorney, things started moving along at a comfortable pace, and the flow of information was somewhat satisfactory. This resulted in the two accused persons appearing before court this morning, having handed themselves over, and they were subsequently released on warning and the matter postponed to next year. During that time of our intervention, and as we were engaging with the senior state prosecutor, the third suspect was still at large, and the police gave us an undertaking that we will make sure that come lunchtime he will be apprehended. And true to form, that particular third suspect was apprehended and is currently in custody. He'll be appearing before the court tomorrow facing different charges. Well, different in the sense that he has an additional charge of attempted murder, as well as criminal injury for the use of the K-word, which is still disappointing that in this day and age people will feel that they have the right to refer to others in such derogatory terms. But be that as it may, he will be appearing before court tomorrow answering to 3 charges, and we'll see whether he gets bail or not. And if he does get bail, our suspicion is that this case will similarly be postponed to the same day, being the 25th, so that he too can join the other 2 accused. So it's a welcome development, and we don't want to scupper the developments, other than to say that we commend the law enforcement agencies. With our cooperation and pressure, that is what has brought us here, and I don't want to take anything away from the police.
How does this, the latest developments now, build up substance for your legal case as it will perhaps get underway from next year?
Well, the evidential material that we have now obtained and shared with the police, in our view, clearly indicates that firstly there was no reason why the charge was common assault in respect of the third accused in the first place. It was just an attempt by some people who were being silly, who wanted to reduce it to denude it rather of its seriousness. But the prosecutor, once having reviewed the contents of the docket as well as the video footage, independently and correctly agreed with us that it ought to be at the very least attempted murder. And secondly, quite apart from what may happen in the criminal investigation and the ensuing prosecution, I hold instructions to institute a civil suit. So even if, for argument's sake, the worst were to happen, that these suspects were to be found not guilty in a criminal court, it does not mean we cannot proceed still against them and slapping them with a huge lawsuit, which is what my team and I are currently working on, assisted by other volunteering professionals. So it's not over by a long shot, but it does indicate that there is merit in what we are trying to put across. So we are confident that at the very least, as far as the civil case is concerned, we have a formidable case and we'll continue building it. And at the appropriate time, once we launch those proceedings, we will confirm on behalf of the family the steps that we have taken. But for now, we just want to let cool heads prevail and let's allow the law to take its course. But at least we send a very sounding message that this type of behavior will never be countenanced, at least not over our watch as fearless legal practitioners. We are patriots ourselves. We have a responsibility to make sure that we build and live in a racist-free South Africa, and that is exactly what my mandate is.
And how is the family doing, especially the young men?
Look, the family is much calmer now because I have been engaging with them, and I assured them that quite apart from what they may be reading in social media, the police are, in fairness to them, taking the matter seriously. They are a lot calmer, and we had a tripartite consultation with the senior chief prosecutor today, at which the prosecution also explained to them in my presence the processes that are to be unfolded and gave them the reassurance that everything is under control. And I think moving away from that consultation, I think that the family is a lot more relieved and they're in a better place. As far as the boys are concerned, they will be getting counseling initially in Bloemfontein and later as they move back to where they are permanently based, which is in Johannesburg and Pretoria respectively. We will also make sure that the volunteers that have offered their services take the process of counseling forward. But these boys were quite distraught because remember, they were born post-democracy, so they still don't understand why they were not allowed to access the pool in the first place. It was not a pleasant experience, and they took it very badly because some of them go to these Model C schools where they mix with other people of different races. So they didn't understand what's so special about Bloemfontein, that they were to be subjected to that treatment. Actually twice, because the first time they were disallowed, they went to their parents, the parents intervened, and having engaged with management and other adults in the vicinity, they were assured that no, it was just a minor misunderstanding. So the parents went back to the chalets. Before they could reach the chalets, people came running to them to say, hey, your kids actually now being assaulted by these big-bellied Afrikaner maids. And this is the incident that made its way on social media. So you can imagine it was like a double whammy for the parents. So ordinarily, if they were not cool people as they are, it could have rapidly gone south because it was like a slap on the face. And the sad incident was when this other young boy was throttled and literally submerged in a clear attempt to drown them. There can never be any excuse. I know that some latter-day defenders of democracy are trying to suggest that these black boys were the ones who instigated it, but we're not surprised. We expected it from such quarters. But be that as it may, let the law take its course without fear and favor, and we will play whatever supportive role to our law enforcement agencies while we respect the rights of the accused persons. But we say not in our time, not under our watch. This type of behavior will be met full on with the full might of the law, and we are appealing to people to maintain cool heads so that we do not pour petrol over a ravaging inferno. Yeah. We have confidence in the rule of law, and I'll be in Bloemfontein myself. I'll be sitting in that courtroom myself, doing what I should do as a watching brief, and I will come back to you guys and give you first-hand feedback of what the developments might be. But I think for now, cool heads must prevail. Yeah. The situation is under control.
With your advice for cool heads to prevail and in your efforts to seek justice for the Nakedi family, what messages are you trying to now reiterate and send out with this case?
That racism has no place in our society. I am a legal practitioner. I took an oath of office to ensure that justice will be upheld. And in my eyes, justice knows no color. But it rubs me the wrong way. It irritates me immensely when some people, a few people, still believe that they have a God-given right to treat others as if they are children of a lesser God. That I take very personal, and that rubs me the wrong way. So my only contribution to society is to use my skill, and my skill is being legally trained to throw the book back at them. We're not going to promote anarchy or allow anarchy to fester. We will fight fire with fire, but the kind of fire that we will fight back with is fire that is within the four prescripts of the law. And that is the message. It's very simple. By the way, even if it was a black a person who had done this to a young white boy, I would be equally outraged, and I would be the first one to jump at it. I've done it before. The very same Bloemfontein. I had the privilege of assisting an Afrikaner gentleman whose young child protested in class when they were expected to refer to black people as baboons and to drop former President Zuma as a baboon on the chalkboard. That young boy, he must have been about 8 or so, protested, and he was subsequently harassed at school when his father, Afrikaner father, sought to go to the school to intervene. They were harassed and threatened. And I was called. I didn't know this family from a bar of soap, and black as I am, I assisted that Afrikaner gentleman and his children, and some of other like-minded black people even assisted that gentleman by giving him proper employment. And we said to the school management, you dare touch this child, we will throw the legal book at you. And that child stayed and finished that school and left at their own terms. So it's got nothing to do with us picking up cudgels on behalf of black people. And I make no apologies for doing that, but for me, I hate injustice, and we are on the side of the rule of law and promoting justice. So the reason why I referred to that incident was to show you that I had acted in instances where fellow Afrikaners were treating another Afrikaner, and that was downright unjust. And as a lawyer, my job and training and my calling is to step up to the plate and do whatever you can with the assistance of other like-minded people. So that is the message that we are sending across. I'll do it again and again and again with the capable assistance of other compatriots, because there are professionals who are counselors and psychiatrists who have also volunteered to come to the rescue of these victimized children of our own. And I think it's a good thing for South Africa to embrace.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the best there. Speaking to senior attorney representing the Nakedi family.